Hey fifth graders, welcome back to Weekly Review with Mrs. D. Alright, so we've been talking about decimals. So let's take a look at two numbers. We're going to read the decimal because we've been working on reading decimals. Read the decimal. We're going to identify the places of the decimal, and we're also going to identify the value of a digit. Remember, digit is another name for number. Right? So I've got two numbers up here, so let's get started. All right, so I'm taking a look at this number, and I notice I have a number in the hundredths place. I have a tenths, then I have my decimal, I have a ones, and then I have a tens. All right? So I know the places that I have and what I'm working with this number. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to read this number. This is 23 and, remember to say and at the decimal, 23 and 56 hundredths. Now remember, I told you there's an easy way to remember this. Actually, there's two ways. I'm going to show you a second way to remember this. So remember we said we could remember this with as money. So we've got our tens, our ones, so that's $23 and 56 cents. So when we look here, the 5 is like 5 dimes, all right? The 50, that tells us 5 dimes. Now this would tell us pennies. How many pennies? In the hundredths, because we need 100 of those in order to make a full dollar, all right? So $23.56. So you can remember it that way. I'm going to show you another trick. Above the decimal, you can write a 1, all right? And then you can write a 0. That tells me tenths, so this is the tenths place. This is the hundredths place. I wonder what another 0 would be. If we put another 0 there and added another number, say we added a 4, that would be thousandths place. So that's just another strategy to check to see if you're reading and understanding the number correctly. All right, so let's go back to the number. 23 and 56 hundredths. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I want to underline the 5. So what is the value of the 5? Well, I can go ahead and take one of my strategies. I know that's tenths, so this is 5 tenths, all right? Now, if I wanted to find out the value of the 6, I can use my strategy again. That's in the hundredths place, I can tell because of up here. And so that would be 6 hundredths, okay? All right, now, what if I had something over here? What if I had this underlined? Well, that would be ones, tens, so that would be 2 tenths, so the value of that would be 20. All right, so we've got 23 and 56 hundredths all under control. We have the places, hundredths, tenths, ones, and tens, so we understand that. We understand the values of the digit, and we understand how to read it. All right, on to the next one. So now we have hundredths, tenths, ones, tens, hundreds. So now that I have that in my mind, so I know the places, now I can read the number. 397 and 82 hundredths. Okay? So I'm going to go back through here and I'm going to write this really small and say I want to know the value of the 2. Well, I've gone ahead and I've written my strategy up here, the 1 above the decimal and then the 0s above the other places. That's hundredths. So the value of this would be 2 hundredths. All right. What if I want to know the value of the 3? Well, we've got ones, tens, hundreds, 300. Okay, what about the value of the 8? Well, if I look up here, I've got a 1 and a 0, so that's 10 tenths. So this is 8 tenths. Okay? So I'm hoping that that's another strategy that you can use. So remember, putting the 1 above the decimal and then 0s over all of the other numbers that are there. Okay? Now, one thing that I want to mention, when you were reading numbers, say you were reading 3,152 and 63 hundredths. I heard some people saying 3,152. We have to wait to say and until we get to the decimal. 3,152 and 63 hundredths. So be careful of that, all right, when we're reading and writing decimals. So the papers that you have to work on all have to do with decimals. They have to do with writing them in written form, which you have your notes in your binder about that, and you can refer to that at any time. And then the place of a number and the value of the digit. So I want you to work on those papers. If you have any questions, you can email me. I want you to keep watching, keep thinking, always stay curious, and I'll see you next time.